Hi everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm here today with my August wrap up. I'm actually pretty impressed with how many books I managed to read last month. There's 11 on this list, which I'm pretty pleased with considering I moved into college started, etc, etc. I'm just gonna go get into these many books for you guys. Hope you enjoy. Yeah, let's just get started. So the first 4 books I read in August was the Raven Cycle series by Maggie Stiefvater. So that includes The Raven Boys, The Dream Thieves, Blue Lily Lily Blue, and The Raven King. And I actually have a full spoiler-filled video about this series. But basically the premise is Blue is the daughter of a, what is that called? Psychic. And her whole family, all of the women are psychics in her family. And all of her life, she's been told by every psychic she's ever met that if she kisses her true love, he will die. And so that's basically where we pick up, and she gets involved with this group of boys, the Raven Boys, and they go on some wild adventures. And I really enjoyed this series. It was really sweet. There was a lot of found family trope in it, and I loved all of the characters. I gave the Raven Boys 4 out of 5 stars. I gave the Dream Thieves 4 out of 5 stars, and then I gave Blue Lily Lily Blue and the Raven King both 4.5 out of 5 stars. You're gonna have to watch my spoiler-filled video if you would like to know my in-depth opinions if you've read this series. But yeah, I really enjoyed this, and I read them really fast, and I look back on them with fondness. So there's that. The first ebook I read in August was 6 Crimson Cranes by Elizabeth Lim. This was a new release that I managed to get a hold of in the library, and I really enjoyed this book. Basically, our protagonist is cursed by her stepmother, her evil stepmother, you know that trope. And her brothers are turned into cranes, and if she speaks or makes any sound, one of her brothers will die for every sound she makes. And she goes on this wild adventure after she's exiled from her kingdom. She's a princess, and she has to try to find her brothers, solve the curse, get back home, all that sort of thing. I really liked this book. The writing was pretty good. The world building was good, I felt like. Towards the end, there were some moments where it picked up pace and it was kind of confusing to me. But that happens in a lot of fantasy books, just like battle scenes or more exciting things. It kind of feels really rushed. So that was something that I remember not quite liking. I don't really remember a whole lot about why I gave it a 4. But it was good, but it wasn't the best. So I got a 4. But I still really liked it. So there's that. The next book I read this month was Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. After I finished The Raven Cycle, I really needed something short, and I thought this was perfect because it is really short. Northanger Abbey. Not my favorite Jane Austen. I don't really even know. The premise of this one is this girl who's not Catherine. She's not like the most well off, is kind of taken in by this family, and she's like, she comes out to society in Bath, England, and there she meets a whole bunch of people and she falls in love, and there's like all this drama. And so that's the premise of this one. Not my favorite Jane Austen, but I still really liked it because I like her shorter ones. I feel like she gets to the point a lot quicker and it's less fluffed. Yeah, you know, I wish there was like a little bit more drama because that's what I read these for. And so like there were a lot of slower moments, but still really good. Gave it a 4 out of 5. Um, yeah. So not my favorite Jane Austen, but not my least favorite. Okay. Next book I read was The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. Why did I choose to read this when I did? I don't know. It was one of the books I brought to school with me, and I just kind of felt in the mood because I've been hearing about it and I've seen a lot of it on TikTok. Seen a lot about it on TikTok, and I've always wanted to read it. So I finally did. What can I say about this? It was interesting. I still don't really know my full opinions on it. Like, I find it hard to put them into a concrete thought or sentence. Writing wasn't my favorite, if I'm being honest with you. It was interesting. There wasn't a whole lot of plot, you know, it just follows this girl as she navigates her life and her mental illnesses and how she copes with them. And it was interesting. I don't really know why it's a classic, if that makes sense. Like, I don't really know why people love it so much. Maybe I'll appreciate it more when I'm older, but there wasn't really a lot of emotional connection to the main character, any of the characters really. I really don't remember anything about this except it was a little weird in my book. I didn't cry, you know, like I didn't really feel any attachment to this at all. I do think there are valuable lessons, even if they didn't really apply to me, if that makes sense. I don't know what to say about this. I really don't. I gave it a 3.5 out of 5 stars, which it should probably go down. That's all I have to say about that. I just totally moved my tripod. I'm sure it's fine. Okay. I'm sure it's great. Yeah, whatever. Okay. So the next ebook I read was One Last Stop by Casey McQuiston, who wrote Red, White, and Royal Blue, which I really enjoyed earlier this year. This book was another new release that I happened to get my hands on, and it's safe to say it's not what I expected it to be. It follows this girl as she makes her way through New York, and she meets this other girl on a train who's very mysterious, and they kind of have this instant connection, and then it's like discovered that Jane like can't leave the train. Anyway, it's really sci-fi, kind of. There's a lot of time stuff in it, like they reference Lost a number of times, which I greatly appreciated. But I did not expect the sci-fi element. I did not read the synopsis before I read this, which I should have. This was not really what I was looking for when I picked it up. I still like the writing. She's really funny. I think she does a really great job capturing Gen Z humor in a way that isn't cringy. I hate that word. Or it's not forced. It's actually funny and like relatable. And so I really like that about her writing, at least in my opinion. I think she does a good job because I know a lot of contemporary authors try to incorporate this humor in it, and it just falls flat a lot of the times, but I think she did a really good job with that aspect. I love the romance. Um, Not as much as I would have liked to love them. I did cry at the end. I loved all the side characters. I thought she did a really good job of making everybody really distinct and personable. And I would read other books based on just the side characters. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. So it wasn't my favorite, but it was still pretty good. And I would recommend. Just know that there's a sci-fi element because I was not expecting it and I was really confused. So, next book I read, we're getting down to it, was The House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. I've seen this literally everywhere for probably the last year and a half, or no, 6 months, year. Anyway, it's been all over TikTok and everything, and I picked it up, I think at Barnes & Noble a couple of months ago, and I finally was in the mood for some more family trope-esque things. And so this follows Linus, who is kind of like, he works for the government, but he's this agent of the government who is responsible for checking up on all of these orphanages. And these orphanages are for magical children, magical youth, I think they're called. So kids with powers. And so there's a lot of, it's very dystopian-like. And even though I'm pretty sure it's set in our world, but anyway. And he has to go to this orphanage home, and he's like tasked the special task of seeing if he should shut it down or not. And I really enjoyed this. The writing was interesting. It wasn't my favorite. I've seen a lot of people talk about how they think his writing is like top tier, best thing I've ever read, and I frankly didn't agree. Just his writing style, like I felt it was a little bit repetitive, and that's something that really irks me in writing is repetitiveness. And I didn't know if it was intentional or if it was just his writing style or if it was a mistake. I don't know, but it happened enough times that I think it's just his writing style, and that's perfectly fine. I just didn't really like it that much. I mean, it was good, but it wasn't my favorite. I was gonna give it a 4, but then the ending bumped it up to a 4.5. I really liked it. I liked all of the characters. It's definitely a more character-based novel. Again, found family trope. I liked the romance. There was a part of me that kind of felt disconnected because Linus is like a middle-aged man, you know, so there was that to contend with, but it was still really good. Loved all the development, and the world building was pretty good. It's a cute story, very just warm, like the blurb on the front by Victoria Schwab says, it's like being wrapped up in a big gay blanket, and I feel like that sums it up. It was really sweet. It just wasn't my favorite, and I was kind of a little disappointed because I didn't think it was as good as some people made it out to be. Like, it really reminded me a lot of Nevermore, The Trials of Morgan Crow, and that whole series, and I think those books were better. So, but you know, it's good. It's a standalone. It was really sweet. There's that. Okay, last ebook I read this month was, or in August, was, I'm gonna be so embarrassed when I put the picture up beside me, Punk 57 by Penelope Douglas. Again, I've seen it all over TikTok. Yeah, and I kind of knew what I was getting into, but I was looking for a romance, and I really was in the mood for this, and it was on Kindle Unlimited, so I snatched it up. And let me just tell you, it was exactly what I thought it would be. it met and even exceeded like all of my expectations. It was perfect for what I was in the mood for. It's really just a very cliche high school romance, but it was kind of like they're pen pals, and then something happens and he stops talking to her, and they've never met, and they finally meet and they like hate each other, and then it's like enemies to lovers. um Pretty steamy, you know. Very Wattpad-esque, and I know that turns a lot of people off when they hear that, but at the time it was exactly what I wanted. Very cliche. You know, the writing, it is what it is, you know, not the best writing in the world. I did give it a 4.5 out of 5 stars, and I've said this before and I'll say it again. My ratings for romances are very weird. It's like you can't compare the romances with other books. Like, hold this on par with the other 4.5s I gave this month, and it doesn't add up. But it's like on a separate scale, okay? So just keep that in mind. It served its purpose. I read it in like 2 days. It was I really liked it. I'm not gonna lie to you, and that's embarrassing to me that I liked it so much, but I've seen it on TikTok everywhere, and apparently it's for a reason. So do with that what you will. Okay, the last book I have to talk about, I do not have with me. I forgot to bring it home when I came home this weekend, but I read Beowulf, or reread Beowulf. The last time I read this was, I think, 11th grade. And I read the Seamus Heaney translation. I had to read this for my medieval literature class, and he actually wanted us to read it from our textbook, but I like this translation better, so I read this translation, and I gave it a 3 out of 5. I think that's what I gave it last time. I know a lot of people like hated when they read this in high school. I think it's really interesting. It's a long poem about a guy who goes around killing things, set in really, really, really old England. Or not England, it's like Normandy. Anyway, why am I like talking to you like you're in my class? It's a long poem, and yeah, he fights monsters. It's really, I mean, I think it's interesting. Especially the way my professor taught it this semester was really interesting, and so I liked it. So that's why I got a 3 out of 5. But I know a lot of people don't like it, so it's just a classic that you either have to read or you don't have to. And I actually like it, and I'll probably read it again. Not gonna lie to you. Yeah, I read that like the last day of August because I didn't know I had to read the whole thing, and then I had to rush and read the whole thing and for my class. So that's what I did. Yeah, those are the 11 books I read in August. It feels weird. I feel like I'm missing some, but those will have to wait until my September wrap up. I'm not gonna have a September TBR this month, so I'm just gonna, like, Macy just kicked on, quickly tell you. Okay, I'm rereading The Hunger Games. That's the priority. And then I'm also planning on reading Dune before the movie comes out. Those are like the 2 big ones. So there's your brief September TBR, because I'm not doing a separate video this month. I should have some pre-filmed videos coming your way in the next 2 weeks, maybe. So look out for those. Yeah, I don't know how much I stuck with my August TBR because I don't remember what was on it, but I think I might have done okay. I don't know how much I'll read in September because of school, but we'll see. Hope you guys like this video. thanks for sticking with me. I know my uploading schedule is like really weird right now. It is what it is. Thank you guys so much for watching. Here come the guns. Like, subscribe, maybe possibly. Peace out. Hope you enjoyed. Have a good week. Peace out. Goodbye. In the video.